Picture this: a calm morning in California. The sky's barely waking up, sunlight creeping slow, and coffee still warm on the counter. Inside that massive $14 million Montecito mansion, Meghan Markle's phone suddenly blows up. Notifications start flashing non-stop, lighting the screen like fireworks. One call, then another, and suddenly everything spirals fast.
In the hope that somebody will come along and say, there's money in this, let's support Meghan and her as ever brand.
Tom Bauer just dropped a bombshell, and people can't stop talking. What he's exposing now is the kind of thing that sends crisis teams into full panic mode. Meghan's reportedly keeping herself locked away, avoiding every camera in sight. This isn't just another royal drama. It's a full-on public storm, and it's exploding right now. Before we dive into what just surfaced and why Meghan's so on edge, make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button, and turn on notifications, because this story's moving fast and you don't want to miss what's next. Let's jump straight into it. Here's the real deal about Tom Bauer. This isn't some random person chasing clicks from behind a keyboard. He's a veteran journalist with decades of experience taking on powerful figures across the world.
But I thought that was just such a disgrace. I thought she behaved so badly, and Harry too.
We're talking business moguls, public icons, and people whose influence runs so deep it shakes entire industries. And yes, that includes the royal family. Bauer built his name by saying what others won't dare whisper. When he zeroes in on someone, it's never calm or comfortable. Once he writes about you, that's when things start getting real tense. He doesn't sugarcoat, doesn't protect reputations. He digs, questions, and keeps pushing until every hidden truth sees daylight. His last book, Revenge, Meghan, Harry, and the War Between the Windsors, turned everything upside down. The reaction was instant and wild. Royal insiders were reportedly in shock. Headlines erupted everywhere, and conversations spread like wildfire through media circles. The claims in that book sent shockwaves people are still talking about. Most people thought that was Bauer's peak, that he'd already said everything there was to say. But somehow, he's gone even further this time, and that says a lot considering how explosive his last book already was. Now, Bauer's shining a harsh spotlight on a chapter of Meghan's past she probably hoped was long forgotten. Her early Hollywood days, not the red carpets or magazine covers, but the grind. The endless auditions, the rejections, the hustle to break into one of the toughest industries on the planet. Hollywood's ruthless. Talent alone doesn't cut it. You need perfect timing, strong connections, and the right people opening doors for you at just the right second. And according to what Bauer's uncovered, Meghan's rise might not have been as smooth or natural as many believed.
And she targeted, there's no doubt she targeted Harry and found someone who was a childhood friend of his who could introduce.
There are new claims surfacing about certain doors mysteriously swinging open, opportunities showing up out of nowhere, with zero explanation. Those details have insiders whispering, because the story being told now feels very different from the version we've all heard for years. And here's where it gets wild. Rumors are swirling about the connections Meghan supposedly leaned on to climb her way up the ladder. We're talking about the kind of connections that make people wonder how much of Meghan's rise was pure talent and how much was about who she knew. And it doesn't stop there. Bauer sources are spilling stories about folks she allegedly left behind on her way up. Not literally stepping on anyone, but you get the picture. Former friends left in the dust, colleagues suddenly cut off, and people who once helped her just disappearing once she moved ahead. That's the image Bauer's painting. A woman determined to make it, no matter the cost. Her journey from struggling actress to global icon, according to him, wasn't as clean or organic as the story we've all been told. But it gets even messier, because Bauer didn't just stop with Hollywood. Oh no, he dug way deeper. His claim suggests Meghan didn't just climb the ladder, she rewrote parts of her own story to make it all fit better. Once Prince Harry entered the picture, everything changed. Meeting an actual prince doesn't just change your life, it transforms your entire world. And according to Bauer, that's when Meghan allegedly started reshaping her backstory, adjusting details, polishing her past, and tweaking her image to fit that royal fairy tale narrative. She was stepping right into a role, like watching someone build a full-blown personal brand from scratch. The modern princess, perfectly polished with a story that feels straight out of a movie. One part of Bauer's report even claims she reinvented entire chunks of her past just to fit that image. And these weren't tiny tweaks. We're talking major pieces of who she said she was. Those kinds of revelations make people question everything they thought they knew. But what really hit Meghan hard was realizing how deep Bauer had gone. Insiders say she completely lost it, full meltdown mode. And honestly, it's not hard to see why. This wasn't just recycled gossip or old clips pulled from interviews. This was personal, intimate details that could only come from people who once knew her well. That's when the panic kicked in, for real. She started realizing that someone close must have talked to Tom Bauer. And for Meghan, someone known for keeping tight control over every piece of her public image, that's an absolute nightmare. Sources say Meghan struggles the moment she's not in control. She wants to know everything, what's being said, when it's being said, and exactly how it's being framed. That's how she's always operated. Hands-on, every detail checked. But with Bauer's book, she had zero control, and she knew it. Word is, she even had her team digging to find out who was talking, who from her past might have turned on her. That's how intense things got. These weren't wild guesses Bauer was throwing around. These were details only someone from her inner circle could have known. The kind of secrets that slice straight through all that polished PR armor she built up over the years. Meghan had spent years carefully shaping her story, her struggles, her rise, her success, and now it was all being questioned. And not by random online voices, but by someone with receipts. Someone who actually did the digging. Imagine that. You've spent years managing your image. Every interview, every public appearance, every social post perfectly crafted. And suddenly, someone starts pulling the curtain back, showing the world that maybe things weren't exactly as you'd said. That shiny image Meghan protected so fiercely was starting to crack. Cracks were showing clear as day, and once they appear, there's no hiding them. While Meghan's trying to manage the chaos from Bauer's bombshell, let's shift to Harry for a second. He's not exactly calm through all this either. Ever since whispers about Bauer's book started spreading, Harry's reportedly been in panic mode. And honestly, you can see why. That California dream they sold to everyone, their fresh start, their new life, it's looking shaky now that this book's out. It's like watching everything they've worked to build start to crumble right in front of them. Let's be real. Their American ventures haven't been smooth. Remember that hyped Netflix deal? Yeah. Not exactly the success everyone expected. Projects got shelved, shows didn't hit the mark, and word is the streaming platform isn't thrilled with how it all turned out. Then there's Spotify. That partnership's dead and buried. A very public flop that had everyone questioning what they're really bringing to the table. And it doesn't end there. Meghan's lifestyle brand, the big wellness push, reportedly isn't landing either. The buzz is gone, people are confused, and the energy just isn't there for that kind of brand to take off. The shine's fading fast, and it's becoming harder to keep up that perfect image. Here's the real kicker. For years, Meghan and Harry have been preaching about being authentic, real, genuine, honest, and living with integrity. That's been their whole brand. Every interview, every documentary, every project, they sold that story to the world. But now, serious cracks are showing, and the timing couldn't be worse. With Bauer's book dropping, a totally different side is being exposed. One the public's never seen before. And it's raising real questions about whether that whole authentic image was ever real, or if it was all just perfectly staged for the cameras. Because if people start believing it was all an act, that's not just a PR issue. That's their entire foundation falling apart. The timing? Brutal. Their California ventures are already shaky. Public opinion's cooled off, and that once glowing excitement about their new life has seriously faded. Now comes a book spilling the kind of details they definitely didn't want out, right when they can least afford another scandal. Harry knows how fast this can spin out of control. He's seen it before. One story breaks, then another, until suddenly every move they make is under a microscope. And that's exactly where they are right now. Every interview, every quote, every public appearance is being judged through the lens of Bauer's revelations. For someone who left royal life searching for peace and freedom, this has to feel like a nightmare. Instead of the clean, fresh start they dreamed of, Meghan and Harry are right back in the middle of a full-blown media storm. And this time, there's no royal palace team to shield them. And if you think things are already messy, just wait. Because what Bauer uncovered about Meghan's family takes it to a whole new level. This part gets personal, uncomfortable, and honestly, kind of heartbreaking. For years, the public's only heard Meghan's version of her story with her dad, Thomas Markle, the one where he betrayed her trust, staged those paparazzi photos, talked to the press right before her wedding, and she cut him off completely. That's the version we've seen in interviews, documentaries, and her carefully shaped narrative. But according to Bauer, there's more to that story than what we've been told. He's asking some hard questions about how that father-daughter bond really fell apart. Questions that don't necessarily make Meghan look like the total victim she's claimed to be. And here's where it gets deep. Because shaping public perception is powerful. If you frame a story the right way, people believe it, even if it's not the whole picture. Sources say Meghan's been a pro at doing exactly that since the very beginning. And Bauer's allegedly exposing that, showing how she may have molded parts of her family drama to fit the image she wanted the world to see. One insider reportedly said, Meghan knew framing was everything, even if it meant adjusting a few details or leaving certain truths out. That's just how the game works. Now, no one's saying Thomas Markle was a perfect dad. He had his own misstep, for sure. But what Bauer's suggesting is that the story we've all heard might not be the whole truth. And that's huge, because it hints that the fallout between Meghan and her father might not have been as one-sided as it's always been portrayed. Maybe, just maybe, things were messy on both sides, and that tension didn't come out of nowhere. And here's why it matters. Meghan's used that family rift as a major part of her public image. The misunderstood daughter, the woman betrayed by those who should have supported her. It's emotional. It makes people sympathize, defend her, and see her as the one who got hurt. But if that story starts to crack, if people begin to suspect that parts of it were exaggerated or reshaped, then everything changes. Suddenly, you're looking at someone whose entire public persona might not hold up under the spotlight. And it doesn't stop with her dad. Bauer's reportedly digging through everything, from her early Hollywood grind all the way to her royal rise. Everyone's seen that transformation, from struggling actress to duchess to global name. But Bauer's asking the tough question, how much of that was real, and how much was carefully crafted for the world to believe? Here's the truth. Building a public persona isn't luck, it's a full-time strategy. It takes timing, precision, and knowing exactly what to say and when to say it. And according to what's coming out now, Meghan was incredibly skilled at that game. Maybe even too good. The wild part, Bauer's book isn't even fully released yet, and the fallout's already hitting hard. Social media's on fire. Thirds of comments, endless threads going viral, and people digging through every old interview and speech she's ever done. It's not casual scrolling anymore, folks, are analyzing everything with this new info in mind. Critics are pulling up old clips, comparing them to what Bauer's revealing now, and the inconsistencies are stacking up like crazy. Side-by-side comparisons are popping up everywhere, showing moments where timelines don't line up, stories shift, and little details change depending on who's asking the questions. And here's the shocking twist. It's not just her usual critics talking this time. Even some of Meghan's longtime supporters, the ones who always jump to defend her, are starting to go quiet. Those once loyal comment sections that used to overflow with praise are now flooded with doubt. People are asking, wait, how much of this was real? Did she really go through all that, or was it exaggerated? And that's a huge problem. These were the people who believed in her story, who related to her struggles, who thought she was the genuine one, and now they're second-guessing everything. And just when it couldn't get any worse, here comes the British press, ready to jump all over it. Oh, the British press is loving this moment. They're having a total field day. Tabloids are going wild, plastering headlines everywhere about secrets revealed and the Duchess exposed. It's like the early scandal days all over again, but this time, it's even more intense. Because now, it's not just rumors, it's detailed information hitting the public. The media in the UK has been waiting for something like this, and now they've finally got their story. Article after article, deep dives, endless analysis, all breaking down what Bauer uncovered and what it means for Meghan's reputation. And let's be real, they're not holding anything back. Every single detail is being picked apart, debated, and dissected. Meanwhile, behind those mansion gates in Montecito, the vibe is reportedly tense, really tense. Staff are walking on eggshells, unsure what could blow up next. The stress, the pressure, the anxiety. It's said to be radiating through the whole place. PR teams are in full-blown crisis mode. Phones ringing non-stop, emergency calls flying in, meetings stacked one after another. Everyone's scrambling, desperate to figure out how to contain the chaos. But here's the real issue. When someone like Tom Bauer drops a book packed with this much detail, there's only so much spin you can manage. The story's out there now, and it's spreading fast. Insiders say Meghan has told close friends she feels completely under attack. With everything closing in from all sides and nowhere to hide, she's reportedly feeling betrayed, exposed, and more vulnerable than she has in years. And this isn't some tabloid exaggeration. This is detailed info hitting the public, making people question everything about her. The fortress she spent years building, her perfectly managed public image, is taking some serious hits. When you've worked so hard to create the perfect version of yourself for the world to see, having it all ripped apart like this must be terrifying. Because once people start doubting one piece of your story, they start doubting everything. Now let's pull the curtain back and look at what insiders say was really happening inside that Montecito mansion. The scene wasn't pretty. Early morning, her phone lights up non-stop. Notifications, calls, and texts flooding in from friends trying to warn her what's coming. And the second she realized what Bauer had uncovered, she reportedly lost it. It turned into full-on crisis mode. Publicists, managers, and advisors were called in immediately. Phones buzzing non-stop, emergency meetings popping up left and right. Everyone was scrambling to figure out what they were facing and how to handle it fast. Because this wasn't just another rumor they could ignore. This one hit way too deep. This was serious. Sources described the scene as straight-up chaos inside that mansion. One insider said Meghan was pacing back and forth, almost in tears, repeating, "How could he possibly know all that?" She wasn't just upset, she was shocked. Completely blindsided that Bauer had somehow gotten his hands on such personal, detailed information. And here's what really rattled her. These weren't things anyone could just Google or pull from old interviews. This was deeply private stuff. The kind of information that only comes from people who actually knew her, people she'd once been close to, people she trusted, maybe even deeply trusted. That realization reportedly hit her hard. Imagine finding out that someone from your inner circle, maybe more than one person, had opened up to Tom Bauer, sharing details you never wanted public. That's the kind of betrayal that shakes you to your core. One insider described it like watching someone realize their fortress wasn't as secure as they thought. All those walls she built, all that careful image control, and yet, information was still leaking out. But Bauer didn't stop with Hollywood stories or family drama. He went even deeper. According to reports, he dug into her childhood memories, her education, her early career hustles, everything. Nothing was off limits. Every chapter of her past was reportedly placed under his microscope. And that's exactly what's making this whole situation so explosive. What Bauer uncovered has people seriously questioning how accurate that polished version of Meghan we've all seen really is. Sources from her Northwestern days say the Meghan they knew back then was completely different from the woman the public sees now, not just in fame or fortune, but in how she talked about her background, her struggles, and her story. Those who knew her back then claim the tales she shared about her early years don't exactly line up with what actually happened. And that's a big deal, because if the foundation of your public image doesn't fully match reality, what happens when people start comparing notes? When old classmates and friends start speaking up, those buried details you thought were long gone can suddenly resurface loud and clear. For Meghan, that's reportedly her worst nightmare, losing control of her own narrative. It's everything she's been trying to avoid. The cracks in her story showing, her image slipping, and the realization that no matter how perfectly you manage your brand, the past always finds a way back. And here's where things get intense. Bauer's book is packed with way too much personal detail to come from just public sources. We're talking private conversations, behind-the-scenes stories, and off-the-record moments, stuff you can't find online. That means someone talked, probably more than one person. And that's exactly what's got Meghan reportedly spiraling right now. Speculation about who actually cooperated with Bauer is going crazy. Some say it might have been former palace staff, people who allegedly felt burned during the royal years and finally wanted their side of the story out. Others are pointing fingers at old Hollywood connection, former friends or colleagues who might have been left behind once Meghan's star took off. The entertainment world can be ruthless like that. But there's one theory that's really got people buzzing, and it's personal. What if someone from her own family actually talked to Bauer? That idea alone is enough to shake anyone who's spent years carefully protecting their public image. And when it comes to family, one name keeps popping up: Thomas Markle, her dad. Now, no one knows for sure if he actually cooperated, but the amount of detail in Bauer's book about the family dynamics and what really went down between them has people wondering, because seriously, who else would know those exact memories? Apparently, Meghan's wondering the same thing. Sources say she's been spiraling, calling people non-stop, asking questions, trying to figure out if her father was one of Bauer's sources. And if that's true, if her own dad went to a journalist with private family details, That's not just betrayal, that's a heartbreak that cuts deep. Then there's Samantha, Meghan's half-sister, and her timing couldn't be more suspicious. Right around the release of Bauer's book, she jumped online posting cryptic messages, dropping hints, and even thanking certain people for finally revealing what she's been saying all along. You don't have to be a detective to connect those dots. While Meghan's reportedly in full-blown detective mode trying to trace the leak, there's someone else stuck right in the middle. Harry. Sources say he's completely torn. On one hand, he's desperate to protect his wife, and furious that this keeps happening. But on the other, he's exhausted. Every few months, it's another scandal, another tell-all, another headline dragging them back into chaos. Harry moved to California for peace, not to live on a non-stop drama carousel. Insiders claim their home has been tense, ice-cold even, with stress hanging in the air that neither of them can shake. When your past keeps getting dug up, and every detail of your life gets questioned, the emotional toll is real. And here's the worst part. It's probably not over. Whispers are already spreading about more documentaries, more exposés, more writers digging into Meghan's Hollywood years. It's like the floodgates have burst open, and now everyone wants to tell their version of who she really is. For someone who spent years crafting every piece of her public image, watching it unravel has to be devastating. The past she worked so hard to leave behind isn't staying buried. It's crawling back, piece by piece, and there's nothing she can do to stop it. Here we are, the moment Meghan never wanted to face. Everything she spent years building, every carefully crafted story about who she is and where she came from is unraveling. And it's happening fast, faster than anyone saw coming. And here's the wild part. When your entire brand, your whole public image, is built on a perfectly polished version of yourself, those cracks don't stay small. They become the whole story. People aren't just questioning one thing anymore. They're questioning everything. Every interview, every speech about authenticity, every carefully worded line. It's all being re-examined under a new light. And now, Meghan's reputation? It's hanging by a thread. Think about it. She went from being celebrated worldwide, holding massive influence, landing partnerships and platforms most people only dream about. But now, all those achievements, all those high-profile moments, are being viewed through a completely different lens. What once looked inspiring now looks calculated, and that shift is brutal. And here's the truth. Meghan's biggest fight right now isn't with Tom Bauer, or the British press, or even the online critics tearing apart her timeline. Her real battle is with something she can't control, can't spin, can't reframe, and definitely can't talk her way out of. It's her past, or at least, the version of her past that's finally starting to surface, piece by piece, for the world to see. Whether she likes it or not, Meghan can hire the best PR teams, drop statements, and run all the damage control in the world. But if the foundation of your image doesn't match reality, there's only so much holding it together. That past she worked so hard to rewrite, reshape, and fit into her perfect narrative, it's not playing along anymore. It's creeping back piece by piece, story by story, detail by detail. And maybe that's the truth about trying to control everything. No matter how careful you are, eventually something slips. Eventually, the real story always finds its way out. So now the world's asking, what happens next? Can Meghan bounce back from this? Can her brand survive? Or is this the beginning of the end for the perfectly polished image she's built all these years? Let's hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Meghan can turn this around? Or is the damage already done? Don't forget to hit that like button, share this story with your friends, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next. Because this story's far from over.